and happy Friday. Welcome to Makeup and Storytime. This is the kind of video on my channel where I do my makeup and I tell y'all a little story. It's officially spooky season, and I think that if we're gonna start off spooky season right, we might as well do a scary story. Little bit of a disclaimer though, slash warning, if you get queasy when talking about injuries or like stuff happening in the ocean or like blood and stuff like that, this is not the video for you. However, if you do decide to go ahead and watch the video anyways, that's on you. I've given my warning, I've done my due diligence, and yeah. So this story is actually happened in 2013, and it happened to my little sister, and we were down on the coast in Texas, and yeah, so I'll just go ahead and get into it. Also, if you do like my video, if you like me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, also follow me on Twitter, and let's get into it. Okay, so it was the summer of 2013. I was 13 years old, and my sister, and I believe she was 9 years old whenever this happened. And like during like the younger years of us growing up, we would always go to the beach like every year, or like almost every year. And so this year was the same as other years. We went to the beach and we actually had like a really good time. We did sand castles. We stayed, I think, at a hotel that year. We stayed at a hotel. We had a golf cart for part of the trip, or at least all of the trip. I don't know. It was like 7 years ago, so I don't remember all of it. But we did do a lot. We also even went to, like, there's this like sea life conservatory or something like that, and we went to that, and we got to see sea turtles and some dolphins and stuff like that, kind of like SeaWorld, but without, like, you know, the animal abuse. And it was really, really fun. While at the at the conservatory or whatever, they had told my mom about this like area like near the water where you could see the sea turtles, because we had just learned about like how sea turtles hatch and all of that. Also, I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette for my eye look today. If you want me to do a makeup video, probably on Wine Wednesday, where I'm actually doing a tutorial, let me know in the comments. But anyway, so while we were at the conservator thing, they had told my mom about this area. They called it like a seawall or whatever, and that's just how I'm going to refer to it. But they had told my mom about this like seawall thing where you could actually see the sea turtles as they hatch and they like are in the water and having fun and all of that. And so on the last day, we decided to go check it out, because I mean, what an awesome like thing to go and do as a family, right? And so that's what we ended up doing. I'm just gonna say this now, I was 13, so I did not actually get out of the car whenever they got out of the car. I was having like a brat moment, like, you know, whenever you're like 13. And so I was having a brat moment, so I actually stayed in the car. So all of this information that I'm telling y'all about the actual event itself is from my sister and my mom and my dad. Yeah. So while they were out, I don't know if they actually ever even saw the sea turtles. Like, this happened like right, I don't know. We were there for probably about like 20 to 30 minutes before this actually happened. And so my sister, she was on the seawall. And so basically how it is it has like this like flat part where it's got like the parking lot and all of that. And then it has like a slanted part that goes down into the water. And so that's where she was. And so she actually saw a seashell over there, and on the slanted part. Keep in mind, there weren't any signs saying don't go in there, go on to that part. There weren't any barriers or blockades keeping you from going onto that part. Like, it was completely open, right? And so, you know, she's 9 years old. She sees a pretty seashell. She goes, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get the seashell. Because why not, right? Like, that's what kids do. So, if you know anything about marine biology and stuff like that, then you know that there are barnacles on stuff, um, especially whenever it's like that, like on the hulls of ships, on something like that, there's barnacles. And if you've ever seen like a barnacle in real life, like you know that it's like super razor sharp. These were super razor sharp. So, sorry, I'm having a hard time reliving all of this. But I do it for y'all. But anyways, so she went to go down and pick it up. And when she did that, I think she lost her balance and she fell into the barnacles. And when she fell into the barnacles, it cut her leg open. The amount of cuts were minimal. Speech impediment, I think, like undiagnosed, but whatever. Were minimal. However, they were deep, very, very, very deep. It was like, okay, so like say here's the surface of her skin, that's like this brush part, and then down here is like the muscle part. One of the cuts went all the way down into the muscle on her leg, and it was on like her calf muscle on the left leg, so on the outside, and so she has like a scar going like this that has never fully healed. Like obviously it's not like an open wound or anything, but she has a major scar there, which she has been like kind of self-conscious about ever since she was like a kid, like ever since she got it. But I don't know, my sister is so strong, like she handles these things really, really well. So yeah, so she got a really bad cuts there, and she also got some cuts like on her like ankle as well, and she was just in really, really bad shape. So when my mom saw that, because I don't think that my sister screamed or cried or anything, I think she was just like in shock, right? And so when my mom saw that, she freaked out. Obviously there's like a reason for that, but whenever she freaked out, she went running after my sister. Later, she told me that there is so much blood in the water, it looked like Haven had either gotten attacked or was about to get attacked, because of what happened. And like, honestly, it's just such a good thing that my mom saw what had happened, or at least saw Haven in the water, in the blood, because I don't know if she would still be here today if mom hadn't seen it. Because like I said, I don't think Haven even like cried or anything. Like, she was in shock. And keep in mind, like, another scary part about all of this is that in the years before this, my sister had like a lot of medical issues because she had like a brain issue. Story time about that coming soon. And so it ended up resulting in her having brain surgery. Then she also ended up having leg surgery to get her to walk flat-footed. And so that was another concern about whether or not she would be able to walk again because of how deep the cuts were. So mom ended up rushing into the water. She got her out of it, thank God. And they somehow managed to get her to the car. And so I'm sitting here in the car, and all of a sudden the door rips open, and here's my sister being carried in this blanket, like her leg wrapped around in the blanket, and the blanket is soaked in blood. I think it was actually a towel. Again, 7 years ago, things are just a little bit fuzzy. And so I start freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what happened? Nobody was telling me anything. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, you know? And so, like, nobody told me anything, like, whatsoever. And so I was like, what happened? And they said Haven fell off of the wall and she's hurt and we have to get to the hospital. So in my little 13-year-old mind, I was like, oh my God, am I gonna lose my sister? And so we end up rushing to the hospital. And on the way there, like, Haven was still bleeding. So my mom, she like got Haven's leg and she like put it under her arm, like in her elbow, to try to cut off the blood circulation. And so Haven lost like a lot of blood that day. I don't think that she, like, I don't know. It was a very close call that day, if I'm being honest. And like obviously I didn't know it at the time because I was 13 and I was a shithead, but you know, whatever. And so yeah, so she ended up losing a lot of blood that day. We were rushing to the hospital. I ended up sitting up front, and my mom and my sister were in the back seat, and my dad had his flashers going. He was speeding really fast. I was having to do like this to get people out of the way, like, move, we have an emergency. And so it felt like it was like an hour before we got to the hospital, but it was probably more like 15 minutes, if I'm being honest. But it was very, very, very scary. And so, we ended up making it to the hospital, and whenever we got to the hospital, actually, we went up to the doors. We didn't even have to wait or anything. They saw they saw like everything, and they were like, just go, just go. And so we were ushered back into a room, and they managed to get the bleeding stopped. And then after they got the bleeding stopped, I think they gave Haven like some pain medication, although I'm not 100% sure. Again, 7 years ago. And whenever they did that, then the doctor came in and he was giving her the numbing shots in her leg. The leg itself was mangled in that one spot, and the skin itself was like ripped open. Like it didn't look like a super clean cut either. It looked a little jagged. And like I could see all the way down into the muscle, and it was scary, especially after they had gotten the area cleaned up and you could actually see what was going on. And there's like some white stuff. I don't know what that white stuff was. I don't know if it was like ligaments. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and it's been a minute since I was last in a anatomy class. Anyways, and so I was still very scared about that. Like, it looked like something out of a horror movie, right? And honestly, that day really did feel like a horror movie, if I'm being honest. Yeah. So he ended up doing the shots, and oh my god, the amount of pain that it looked like she was in, because at that point, she was feeling the pain. She started scream crying. And I was sitting there, like, 13 years old, and I was, like, freaking out because, oh my god, that's my little sister. Like, what are you doing? Like, get off of her. Like, stop it if she's, like, screaming that much. But yeah, so that happened. And so it ended up taking a while for the numbing shots to kick in, because for whatever reason, like, it was so bad that she was still feeling it. And because she was still feeling it, like, the doctor had to keep giving her that shot. And eventually, they went ahead and just went in and, started sewing it all up, right? And so, when they started sewing it up, though, is when she was, like, having a lot of discomfort. Like, I think that she could still feel it a little bit, because I don't think that it worked completely. And so she had to get, like, a bunch of stitches in her leg and in different areas in her leg, and also in her ankle. And, yeah. And so, it was, like, really, really scary. I don't know how it is that she's so strong. I really don't. I don't have that level of strength that she does. I definitely think that she's, like, super cool, and that she's, like, definitely a lot better than I am about pain and stuff, which she shouldn't have to be. Like, nobody should have to be really good at pain tolerance, but she just is. And yeah, so that's, like, basically what happened that day. The months afterwards, like, whenever she was still doing, like, wound care and all of that, was crazy, because she had to be, like, super careful. And that's not really my sister. Like, she's not the kind of kid that's like, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm, like, super scared that I'm gonna get hurt. Like, no, this little girl, like, she goes after whatever she wants, right? And so that was really hard for her. That definitely, I think, taught her how to be a little bit better about, like, not putting herself at risk on purpose just because it's fun. And I don't think that, like, she ever put herself at risk on purpose. Like, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, she just, she learned that it's probably best if she doesn't, what's the word? If she doesn't, like, if she isn't reckless, like, you know? And so, yeah. But the weird thing is that, like, after this had, like, sort of happened, um, she still, like, was healing and stuff, but she was still doing all of the normal stuff that she could do, without being told no, right? And I remember being scared all the time because I was like, what if it reopens? Like, what's gonna happen? What if it happens while, like, it's just me and her playing on the playground? Like, stuff like that, right? And, you know, she's just being chill about it. And it did take a really long time for it to heal all the way. She still has, like, ghost pains from it, and, like, if you touch that area where the scar is, she, like gets, like, weird chills and stuff. And it, like, really, really bothers her, which is normal. Yeah. But yeah, so that is the story of how my sister fell off of the sea wall and got a bunch of cuts. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this eye makeup, and then I'll show you the finished product, and then we'll do the closing out of the video. So yeah, alright, see you in a second. But yeah, so this is the finished look, and I guess a recap of the story. If I do find any pictures of my sister's leg or from that day, I'll go ahead and put them in now. But yeah, so if you did like the story, or you like my makeup, or you just like my personality, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, turn on the post notifications. I do post every Wednesday and Friday. Fridays are going to be makeup and story time. And then Wednesdays are going to be wine Wednesdays, and now that I'm 21, we're going to be trying a whole lot of new wines, and it's going to be, like, really good and fun. And I think this coming wine Wednesday is actually going to be where I show you how to do my nails, where it's, like, the press-on nails that they, like, look cute and not, like, actual press-on nails. Yeah, and some tips and tricks for getting, like, fancy kind of nails, but, like, without the fancy prices, like, you know? But yeah, and then next makeup and story time, I will probably be doing a scary story instead of, like, a personal scary story. I know I keep talking about how I want to do a video about my ex and stuff like that, but I think that's gonna have to wait until next year, just for legal reasons. But yeah, so anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you like me, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.